Hi, everyone. Welcome to Fuck Wellness. I'm Mallory.
I'm Lara.
And I'm Makena.
And I feel like we're all really low energy and tired tonight. But we are going to rally because honestly, I feel like by the end of recording a podcast, I'm always in a better mood usually than I was at the beginning. So we're going to all manifest that for each other tonight. But it is our second solo of August. I had to confirm in my head that it is indeed August. And on our first one, you know, if you listened, you know, if you know, you know. It was a little bit chaotic because the technology was just breaking down. Like, you know, it was like one mic is broken, another mic can't hear you, gotta use the chat. One like woman show of Makena.
It was also funny that you could hear in the recording.
Yes, so you could hear me.
We looked pretty crazy that we were like,
I'm doing hand signals
we can't
in
hear
the
each
recording.
It's all like a bit.
Yeah. It really looked like we were putting on like a mime show. I don't know. Anyway, it was a lot.
Also, guys, I just walked. So it's storming here right now. And I just walked into our basement and I think that Bella must have lit like a fall scented candle and it smells like fall down there. And I just had like a moment where I was like, fall? It's not fall.
Are you here?
It's purely summer still, but no. I wish it was.
I'm so excited for October. I don't know why, but like
October is calling my name.
We can't skip my birthday month though. Come on.
No, I know.
We only do one day in September, and that's
September 15th. Yeah. That's it. I actually don't wish I had not said my birthday, but you're all gonna know it now. It's okay.
But like, you know how sometimes you pick a date in the future to be like, I'll be okay by that date. For me, it's like October 1st. I will be okay by October 1st.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is related to outdoor spaces too, because I feel like once it gets to be October, it's like comfortable to be outside and enjoying everything. Do we want to start with some updates?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about anyone else, but Lara's life has been more exciting than anyone else's on here. Well, I don't want to say for you, Makena. Maybe your life has been super, super eventful. So
I do the same exact thing every day.
Okay.
So no.
Okay, cool. All right, Lara, tell us about your trip a little bit, high level. Well, or deep. I mean, whatever you're in the mood for.
High level? What does that mean?
You know, like the highlights.
Oh, the high levels.
I just didn't know if you wanted to tell like a play-by-play. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, I went on a big trip last week of July. I went to Italia. I keep saying that when people ask me where I am. I'm like, Italia.
Like I said,
really
Cale.
Yeah. Makena and I forgot how to say kale last night or the night before. But basically was a quick trip, like only pretty much a week. And
it felt like you were there forever as a friend. It felt
like
you were gone for a lifetime.
Yeah, it felt like a big trip. Like I feel like, we did a lot. But we went to Florence and we spent some time in Florence first, and then, which was really cool because I'd only been to I went to Italy once with Carolina and Jean Marie, and we only were in Rome, I think, which is like a nice city, but this was like really, really beautiful city and saw a lot of very old things. And then we went into like the countryside a little bit because Kai's brother got married at a freaking villa, and it was unreal. It was
like Letters to Juliet vibes.
No, yeah, and it's like, I don't know. You try and like capture the beautifulness in pictures, but that doesn't even do justice. And I don't know. I think it was a really, really fun trip. It was like pretty intense, like with so much family being there and like a lot of family dynamic stuff happening, but it was so beautiful. And it was a lot of fun. But I don't know, I kept in the middle of my trip, like, you know how you build up a trip and you're like, oh my god, it's going to be incredible, and then maybe halfway through the trip you're like, holy shit, this trip is going to come to a close, and like I won't have this amazing thing to look forward to, and I'm like already dreading that ending feeling. And it's so annoying because it like ruins the rest of the trip a little bit, because you're just like so not eager to come back and have it be ended. So whatever, I tried to like squish those thoughts out of my brain as much as possible, but they did creep in. And then I did, like, when I got back here and had to go back to work and like, you know, not be living like kind of
like
my
an
movie
Italian
main
princess
character, life, that was kind of hard. And I think I'm still kind of getting back into my groove a little bit. But yeah, it was really amazing.
What was like the highlight, would you say? Like highlight and low light, maybe?
I mean, highlight, the dance floor at the wedding, like hands down. I was like, I don't know, it was next level. It was really, really good. And incredible music. Like sometimes, I mean, I've worked a lot of weddings and I've been to a few weddings, and like sometimes the playlist, I'm like, okay, we don't need to play this song. Like this song is always played at weddings. We do not need to keep playing this song. But Sarah, the bride, made a killer playlist. And so that was probably like most fun, most beautiful place was like, we went to the coast one day. So like Florence is like pretty inland, but if you just drive like 2.5 hours to the coast, there's like this beautiful place with like 5 little coastal towns. They're like very famous, called Cinque Terre, I think. And that was like
Cinque Terre?
I know it's Cinque Terre, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. We literally said it different ways every time that we said that word.
Yeah.
I
feel like an Italian is listening to our podcast and is just shaking their head right now.
Don't. Yeah, please don't. But it was cool. Like, I think it was really cool to listen to so much Italian and like be able to, for the most part, get the gist from having Spanish. Like it has a very similar, like a lot of words are very similar. And yeah, that was cool. It just, you know, you go to these places and you're like, step 1, move here. Step 2, learn the language. Step 3, like, you know, fully become Italian, which maybe not happen, but yeah, it was really, really, really fun.
So happy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that the transition back has been a little rough. I think whenever you're on such a joyful and like powerful, impactful trip, and then you get back, you're like, I really need to reevaluate my life.
No, that's literally what's happening. And I feel like we talk so much on this podcast about like life is short, like seize the day, and then you come back from a trip like this and you're like, oh wait, actually, like, why am I not there every day? Like, if life is so short. Also, like, you know, I think that like my transition back has been hard, but it's also like the trip was amazing itself. It wasn't super like restful, I wouldn't say. Like,
yes,
it wasn't a lot of like resting. It was a lot of adventuring, and it was so much drinking. Like, like this family, I love them. They can drink like hardcore. So trying to keep up with that, like, exhausting, but I think I did an okay job. I did like go to bed earlier than most people most nights. So wow. You got to do what you got to do.
Taking your Mallory pills?
Yeah.
It's funny because I feel like this has been the summer of non-vacation vacations where you go on vacations, but they're actually just like active vacations, like going to camp, not a restful vacation, going backpacking, not a restful vacation, going to Ireland, not a restful vacation. It's like, and I feel like I do the same thing as you, where I built up a vacation and then I'm there and I'm like, well, I'm not really relaxed. Like, I'm having a good time, but man, I feel a lot of stress.
Yeah, because then I feel like people are like, oh, well, like when you come back from something like that, you should be well rested.
You're ready to go. You're ready to start
had a week-long
that job.
vacation. Yeah. You just had a week-long vacation. You should be so fresh and ready. I'm like, I'm the opposite of fresh.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready.
Yeah. Oftentimes, like I find even the most like quote unquote restful vacations, like they never prepare you for actually going into your life again. Like even you could go to Hawaii for a week and just like lay on the beach and relax, and you still get back and you're like, I'm not ready to actually go back to my real life. I don't know.
So I guess what we're saying is that there's like no
vacations don't exist. They're never
vacations
restful.
aren't real. Rest isn't real, and work is always hard to go back to.
Yes, that is the summary of this episode so far.
Agreed.
Cool. Ken, how
Bless
you doing?
Ken.
Doing great. Yeah, pretty good.
What's a day in the life look like for you?
It's really, nothing. I mean, work.
Nothing,
I literally do the same thing every day. I take care of Douglas, I work and I work out, and that's basically all I do. It's been kind of like a push, but work is coming to a little bit of a more manageable pace, which is exciting because the summer is basically over. So like this weekend is my last weekend on call for the summer.
Woohoo!
So yeah, there are good things that are happening. I'm going to Japan, and by the time this episode is out, I'll probably almost be in Japan.
So I keep seeing it in the Generation 3 girls calendar, and I'm like, God, I keep forgetting them again. To Japan.
I know. I forget too. I mean, it's hard because it's like for work. So it's like, it doesn't feel like a vacation at all. And I don't think we'll be doing a ton of sightseeing. I think it'll still be really awesome and cool, but it is kind of like a big thing to gear up for, of like, not a lot of sleep, a huge time change, working 9 hours a day or more.
What is that time change?
Douglas, knock it off. Sorry, I just cannot handle the barking today. Come here. It's because I think he can hear. I think he can hear. Yeah, you. And I think that he can also hear the echoes of us.
You.
Yes.
But I have earphones in.
I think he can hear it.
Oh, wow.
Douglas, come here. I don't want to praise him for this. So this is bad behavior training because it's supposed to wait a few minutes, but a bone will keep him quiet. Yeah, I can't remember.
What is the time change?
Oh, I think it's like 13 hours or something.
Oh, you're exactly opposite.
Yeah, like time change Japan. Let's see. I should actually know this probably. 14 hours ahead of New York. So it's actually 16 hours is the time change. Which, I mean, I'm gone for like exactly a week. So it's going to be a doozy. But yeah, I don't know. You guys have been going on. Mal, you're a jet setter. There's all these vacations, and I'm kind of a little bit bummed. Like I didn't really have a vacation this summer. I had no trip, nothing really like fun, which I'm kind of bummed about.
Out.
No, I think I am.
Do you not just listen to the section with Lara and I talking about how vacations aren't restful? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but there's still a break from.
Yeah, they bring joy in a different
from reality.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess kind of like I am getting a little bit antsy with like the monotony of my life. It's feeling very stressful for me. I've been in a pretty like good mood recently. Last week was really hard. This week is a little bit better. But yeah, my body's just tired. I think if I could really choose an ideal situation, I'd be like by myself sleeping for like 3 days. Would be like best case, no service. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to convince Lara to go to Montana with me in September, and that's going to be like my vacation. You can come too, Mal, if you want.
Yeah, I was like, where's my
because we have to. Well, we're driving, but yeah, you're welcome to come. Everyone's
I could get
invited.
on an airplane. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You're invited.
Okay, yeah. Okay, is that it, Ken?
Yeah, no other updates.
Well, I'm a really tired noodle today because I spent the whole weekend in Baltimore at a wilderness first aid certification.
I saw your location in Baltimore.
What?
And I was like, what are you doing there?
Yeah. Sarah and I, Sarah Birmingham, my coworker and also friend, we oversee the outdoor education and adventure program at GW now, and all of the student guides have to get wilderness first aid certified. And Sarah and I will be gone the days that they are going to get the certification. So we wanted to get it since we'll be overseeing the program. So we signed up for it, honestly, not knowing how much of a just rough weekend it would be. It was like really, I'm so glad I did it. I feel like
Is it extensive?
So extensive. Like I feel like I feel very qualified to help people in the outdoors now, but like it was.
But did you get it to help people in the outdoors or to oversee the people who are going to help people in the outdoors?
I think both. Like I definitely like GW paid for us to do it. So like my primary purpose of doing it is to help the student guides feel like they're ready and like be able to back them up on things with our training. But even just like the fact that I've gotten altitude sickness, basically the last 2 times that I've been at altitude, I feel like this gave me peace of mind that I know what to like do. And we went through literally everything, like spine, musculoskeletal things, like headache, stomach, chest pain, every type of wound that you possibly could have. I know how to dress it. Like just so
nice.
It was like an hour and a half-ish drive. So we had to be there at 8. I thought that they were kind of kidding with the whole 8 to 5 thing. No, it went truly until 5 p.m.
Holy shit.
And there's 28 of us. But it was honestly really cool because like there's so many people who clearly, like everyone there values the outdoors and the wilderness and like nature. And they were all doing it for so many different reasons. Like 2 women were going through a forest bathing certification and they had to do wilderness first aid in order to like finish their certification on forest bathing.
What does that mean?
What is forest bathing?
Basically they lead people through the forest and they bathe in each, I think that's an option, but they bathe in each like, you know, reasonable place they can bathe, and they like walk through like listening to sounds, smells, like feelings. Like it's supposed to be a very like meditative experience.
Oh my god, that sounds so fun. I want to do that.
Except if the water's cold.
I think that's kind of part of the experience.
Sorry, Lara.
I kind of want to get in cold water right now.
Laura's like, I just need something.
Can we reset something in cold water?
Yeah.
Can you lead me in that now, Mel?
Yeah. Okay. That's actually the certification that I got.
This is like a side note, but does have to do with the outdoors. I tried night vision goggles for the first time.
What?
Insanity, you guys. Truly, it looked like daytime.
No way.
Yes. Like the way that I could see through these binoculars, like daytime.
Whoa.
Wow. I can't even imagine. I'm so afraid of the dark. So I think that'd be kind of helpful.
That'd be really
I don't know, because it
for
kind
you.
of scared me more. I kind of was like, I prefer the dark.
I'm not sure.
Because you don't want to see what's out there?
Yeah. And also it's kind of like this weird, like, I mean, it's not light. Like you can, everyone's seen the movies, right? Like where you can see that like greenish. Yes, you have.
But you were saying it's like daytime. So is it like the movies with the green, or is it like
wait, Makena, get your story straight. Come on.
I just need to know one or the other.
Let me just hop off, okay? No, it is like the lightness is the same as daytime, but it has a green tint. So it's like a filter, but it's still very light. Cool. If you catch my drift. Anyways, it was really unsettling in a way.
Were you
I felt a little bit exposed?
Were you looking into the wilderness or looking at like a residential
into the
area?
wilderness? Into the wilderness.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah. Sorry, Mal. Continue with your
But I think that would be very, very helpful camping.
So helpful camping. So, like,
I
was thinking about our cabin trip. Like, we could have seen if the mountain lion was close.
Perfect.
Maybe that would have been worse, honestly, given the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of
think-
ignorance was bliss in that situation.
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
it
some
better
things
to
are
know
meant
that the lights that
The
the license
lights?
plate that the mountain lion is like 100 feet away, or is it better to assume that it's 3 feet away? What's better?
Assume it's 3 feet away.
Yeah, I agree.
So you'd rather not know
Well,
and assume the worst?
assume the safer option. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it was really fun. And I feel like we made a lot of friends. And like, so the whole certification is scenarios, basically. Like you do a lecture on a topic and then you go
Do you get to role play?
outside. Oh, did we role play? I've never role played so much in my whole life. Like, I kid you not, they put movie grade blood on us. Like they
Shut up.
I am not joking. You're laughing, but like I can show you a picture of Sarah she had a gash in her head. It was wild. They like just the wild.
And we
stuff.
love people who commit. We do.
They were like,
Well,
Sarah,
they had a
cry,
whole makeup
cry.
kit. Like they would have us go outside and do our makeup
Sarah,
and
act
then have
confused.
us. No, you guys are joking, but like that's exactly what happened. They would give us a scenario and you'd either be the patient or the rescuer. And you'd have to like go through the patient assessment system, get their vitals, like clean the wound, dress it,
I bet
whatever.
your acting background helped with that.
So today, one of the scenarios was I was supposed to act like a 13-year-old that had a stomachache at summer camp. And I took it way too far. Like, I think my rescuer was like actually ready to murder me. I kept being like, the boys here are so gross. Like, I'm so not into them. And she'd be like, okay, I need to get your respiratory rate. And I'd be like, when's my mom going to pick me up? Like, all I want is my phone. I want to text my friends. My brother didn't have to go to camp. All this stuff.
Wow.
So it so annoyed me. Anyway.
We love that.
So it was all like lecture and then the scenarios, which were all outside in mulch, which was terrible to lay in. And it's like 90 in Baltimore. So anyway, I survived. I'm certified. I'm also EpiPen certified now, in case anyone needs me to do their EpiPen. But I feel like it was really fun being around other people that like love the outdoors or like love certain aspects of it. Like some guy was going to be a sailing instructor. Someone else was doing it to do their scuba diving certification. One guy was an Alaskan search and rescue guy.
Wow.
This was his research. So anyway, it was really fun, but I cannot be
super
more
restful.
Yeah. The most restful thing that I've ever done, crawling on all fours to drag someone out from underneath like the playground. It was a lot. So anyway, but I feel like it did remind me, and this is what I was going to talk about quickly on the pod, is the importance of prevention when you're going into the outdoors. Like so many of these things that we learned about like can be avoided if you're prepared for the activity that you're going to do. So like basic things like making sure you have enough water, making sure you have like appropriate clothing, given what you're doing, making sure you have a first aid kit on you at all times, phone charged, make sure other people know where you're going, which Makena is so good at. I really she's the best person I know at that. Things like that. Or if you know you're going to be in direct sunlight, making sure you're wearing like sunproof clothing or you're bringing sunblock. Just like so many like prevention things that I was reminded, having like a trip plan, having clear communication channels with the people that you're with. So anyway, having like a rapid evacuation plan before you go out into the wilderness. So anyway, if this is new to anyone and you're interested in going into the outdoors, definitely like a conversation to have with the people that you're going to go into the outdoors with. So that was my 2 cents, because so many of these things just take like a little bit of preparation in order to like have a really bad situation be avoided. So
yeah.
Otherwise in my life, I got promoted at work, which is really exciting.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah. I'll talk about it at some point, but I just not right now. The pod. Other than that, going home next week to go hiking in Mammoth with Sarah and Ryan and my dad, which I'm excited about.
Whoa, another hiking trip.
Yeah, going to utilize some of these wilderness first aid skills. I can splint a leg or an arm now.
Can you tourniquet?
I can tourniquet so well. I can
hell
reduce
yeah.
your shoulder, your finger, or your patella. Yeah. Reduce is like relocate, essentially, like if you dislocate it.
If you didn't know the lingo.
Well, I was like, reduce. What does that mean? Like, how do you reduce a patella? Like in size? I don't know.
Yeah, I really want my patella to be smaller.
Yeah, I've always been really insecure about how big my patella is. Anyway,
You guys
that's
want to
pretty
compare
much my update.
patellas?
Sure, let's do that.
I actually want the biggest one now. I don't know why I'm like, I better have the biggest.
I would like the most
man.
average, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty much my update.
Something funny that I, like these certifications, I'm so jealous you get to do so many through work, even though they are such a headache sometimes.
Mhm.
But it's like so funny when I think that I've got like a handle on my anxiety, like, oh, we're good. And then I think about like getting CPR certified again. Like for some reason, my social anxiety in those situations just like soars through the roof. Like if I had to be like acting shit out, like for this, like worst nightmare, like
Yeah.
teach me how to do it and I will do it, but I don't want to role play.
Well, and keep in mind, like part of the role play was doing a head to toe physical assessment. So you had your hands on their ribs, you had it on like each of their legs, you were like taking their shoes off. Like it was.
And is everyone watching? Like, are two people doing this scenario and everyone else is watching?
At times, but there was a lot of times where everyone's just kind of doing it at the same time, and that was much better.
Yeah,
than
sure.
if everyone
more
was watching
manageable.
you. But I agree. The first like morning, I was very nervous. Like I was like, Sarah, you're my partner for everything, and Sarah's much more comfortable with like group things. So she'd be like, I'm actually gonna go with someone else. I'd be like, okay. So then I became really good friends with Daryl, the man next to me, and Daryl and I became probably the best team there in terms of patient assessment system. So pretty flawless execution.
Daryl knows how to reduce, I'm sure.
I mean, I would say he definitely knows how to reduce.
Let's say he does. Daryl does. Let's say he does.
It was funny. Sorry, last thought on this. So there's two men there who both were very experienced in like advanced wilderness EMT, first responder, et cetera. And they were just doing their like research. And then there was two instructors who were like obviously very experienced as well. But these two participants kept trying to like make it clear that they knew their stuff. So they'd like talk over the instructor if someone asked a question or like it was just so awkward at times. Like someone would say something, the like one of the facilitators would say something and then one of the other guys would be like, well, yeah, but like in my experience, and like would kind of like disagree with like what we had just learned. And
I fucking hate that. This is not.
Sarah and I were sitting there like gripping onto each other because it was so awkward. So anyway,
I hate that.
My reminder not to do that to everyone out there. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. Recommend it though. Last thing, recommend it if you do go to the outdoors a lot and you feel like you would like to get a little bit more, like feel more comfortable if anything happens.
I mean, it kind of just seems like a good thing to know. Like
I really think everyone should just do it actually.
Yeah.
But
high key, I know that they offer a few scholarships to those kinds of things, like from what I've heard in Colorado, but if you're paying for them, they're quite expensive.
Lara, I wonder if your work would pay for it.
Maybe.
I mean,
but I know like a lot of people it is very relevant. I know a lot of people here who do like backcountry skiing have to get certified in their ones
like
and two.
AB certified. Yeah.
I have 1 and 2, which can be really expensive, but I've talked to people who've gotten scholarships. So
yeah,
and also maybe your work will.
I did mine through Knowles, NOLS, and that they're really well known and they definitely have scholarships. So I definitely recommend that. That's it.
Did you are you gonna stay in contact with Daryl or like?
I did wonder if Daryl was gonna ask for my number at the end, but no, I'm kidding. No, I think okay, this is actually something funny that I feel like I would love to get your take on. Do you ever just like have like a group? Like I felt like I really loved and vibed with everyone there. And today, as we were leaving, I was like, I'm never gonna see any of these people ever again. Like actually in my entire life, I likely will never see these people again. And it was this like really like acute grief for a moment where it was like, we shared such a beautiful like 20 hours together that I loved so much and really impacted me. And I don't want to just say bye to them, but I also, what am I going to do? Get all of their numbers and like start a group chat? Like, no, I need to let this relationship end. Yeah. But anyway, it was definitely a mournful moment.
That happens to me a lot.
Me too. I kind of appreciate people who just like call it as it is. They're like, well, it was great meeting you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, never gonna see you again.
I know, but then sometimes I'm like, I do kind of want to see you again. And how do we like all in a really non-cringy way, like exchange numbers with each other, or like make a group chat or make a group, you know, iMessage or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there were people there that, like we had things in common with, like they like to hike in the same places or, so, I mean, there were people that I feel like maybe I could have connected
again
with. Yeah. But I kind of wanted to let it end naturally rather than try to like force something that was meant to end. So anyway,
nice.
Okay. I have some things. Well, one main topic that I would like to talk about that I've been thinking about a lot, but if you have anything that you both would like to talk about, we can always do that too.
I listened to the episode with Jean and Terry today.
Oh yeah.
What cutie patooties.
Yeah.
Like truly just the most adorable. I'm so glad that we had an episode with both of them. And the cow story killed me.
Had you not heard that?
No, I don't. I think maybe Jean has mentioned it, but I don't think I heard it in full. And I was just thinking about when I was in Spain, how many cows I had to walk literally like a foot away from for so long and past like 30 cows or whatever. And, you know, it'd be scary. Some of them were on like big cliffs where there's people behind us and we were like, what do you do? And you're like, stand right here and hope that they walk peacefully by. Like,
hope that they're not aggressive.
Yeah. And so I really felt for them in that moment. And they're just so sweet with each other. They're like, they're really kind friends. And it made me excited for like all the things that we have left to do, you know, like all the cool adventures we get to have together. That made me excited.
Yeah. I really liked the episode. Did you like the Poison Oak story too?
I did like the Poison Oak story. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Anyway,
Jean's a hoot.
Any other thoughts on that, Ken?
On a Jean and Terry episode?
Anything that surprised you?
It was so interesting to hear about Patagonia in the early days.
Yeah.
And kind of being like, yeah, we were just hiring our friends, like anyone who was interested in the outdoors. And
yeah, it didn't matter what their experience was, we're hiring them. Yeah.
Yeah, which like honestly, like at the end of the day, it really, I mean, if you're in like a super specialized job, it like, I don't know. I just feel like most jobs now you're taught what you need to know on the job anyway. Yeah. So it's like, it's funny to me that we are so kind of narrow with and detailed with our, what we need to be like specialized in.
Yeah.
Cause it's kind of like, I don't know, a lot of skills are transferable to other jobs.
Yeah.
And you just get taught how to do it.
In Patagonia in the 80s is evidence of this.
True.
Yeah.
They did all right.
They did all right.
Just okay. Yeah. Not great. Average, I would say.
I don't know. I've never heard of them before, but that's just me.
No.
Okay.
Makena opens her closet.
Seriously. I do need to get a pair of like, it doesn't need to be Patagonia, but I do need to get a pair of pants, hiking pants.
Yeah. I don't love Patagonia's hiking pants. Sorry, Terry. They're not high-waisted enough for me. They hit
no.
at like
That's
the awkwardest place on my hip. And I'm
honestly though, something that we can actually for real discuss is like hiking outdoor brands are not great with size inclusivity. Not so great with curvy girl, you know, sizing. They're really not. They're horrible with that.
No.
Which it always is like, I really need to get a pair. And I'm like, I have not been doing it because I just don't want to go through the trauma, honestly.
Yeah. I had some very serious like body image stuff right before the backpacking trip, because the last time I had backpacked was 2 summers ago. I didn't backpack last summer. And so I was taking out all my backpacking stuff and none of it fit me, like none of it. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I had brought it all to California, like to wear it on the trip. And so I was trying to like fight the feelings of like, wow, like, did I gain weight? What does that mean? Like trying to very much talk myself through all the things I was feeling, but I like couldn't wear my hiking pants anymore because they were too tight on my thighs. And so then I was like, do I go out today, the day before we're going backpacking, to buy a new pair? Do I just wear workout pants? Ended up just wearing workout pants. It was fine. But yeah, it definitely made me, I don't know. It brought up a lot of emotions for me.
That always sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like same thing kind of happened because I don't really wear nice clothes normally, but I knew that like from people telling me like people in like Florence don't go out walking on the street in like sweatpants or workout shorts, which is like my day to day.
Yeah.
It's very much like dress up for everything. So going through my clothes like from college, like things that I have not worn in so long that are nicer, but I'm like, okay, well, they're just gonna have to be sold because that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I agree. It can get a little emotional sometimes.
Yeah.
Even
especially
just go ahead.
If you're last minute packing, then it's like, well, fuck me.
Or even just like, I feel like sometimes I get attached to clothing.
I 100%
and
do.
so like with my hiking pants, they're the ones I did the John Muir Trail in. And so I was like, wow, it feels really tragic that they don't fit me anymore. Like not even just like because of my own body image issues, but also like it was just, I've never not done a backpacking trip in them. Like I've always just backpacked in them. Yeah. So it was a little bit of a, I don't know, processing moment.
Douglas has had quite a few bones today, so we need to maybe kick this into gear because I'm giving him way too many.
Oh, okay.
To bribe him.
Wait, what were we going to talk about, Mal? You said you had you had a thought you want to share.
Yeah. So I would say one area of like diversity and inclusion that I'm fully on board with, but I just haven't been very good at implementing it in my work or my day-to-day life, or like land acknowledgements. And there's something I like view as really like important, but then I don't actually think I do a very good job of the action piece of it. Like I'm really like, I appreciate when people do it and I'm like, oh, that's so like, I'm glad. I love to hear the history. I think it's important. It's a really good reminder, but I don't do a very good job of actually being like actionable on it. And I was in a retreat on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, and I went to a presentation, and the woman leading the presentation started with a land acknowledgement for Washington, D.C. And she explained like the history of the land that like we are on in Washington, D.C. And I felt like such a fucking idiot because I didn't know any of it. Like I truly didn't know anything about like the tribes that were in DC. I didn't know anything about the history of the Potomac or the Anacostia River. Like she went into like a lot more depth than I think a lot of people do with land acknowledgements, but I like so appreciated it. But honestly, I sat there for like 5 minutes being like, how do I not know? I've lived here for 8 years. Like, how do I not know the history of like the land that the city that I like live on? And so I've just been really reflecting on that recently. And like, I think that there's obviously, you know, a huge reason to do land acknowledgements just to honor like the history and like remind people that like, this is not our land, but also just for me, I think it was a reminder that like I need to learn more about it. Like a land acknowledgement is not enough information. Like it should trigger you to then go and like learn more, at least in my opinion. So I've just been thinking about it a lot, and I want to learn so much more about it, because I learned in that like the Potomac and the Anacostia, like where they intersect, was like the center of all commerce for like a lot of the East Coast. And anyway, I don't know what your thoughts on this are, but I feel like for me, it was just a reminder that I have a lot of work to do on this topic. And it's like, it's something I really want to learn more about. And I want to be better at reminding myself about the history of land. And like, I don't know. Anyway, that's just something I've been thinking a lot about, because even just if we think about the student guides at GW, like we are benefiting from getting to do all these trips and like taking students out on land. And I think it's so like last year, apparently they started having all of the student guides like start by talking about the history of the land that they're like doing the trip on, which just like from even a historical lens, I think is a really cool opportunity for students to learn about it. But anyway, that's just something I've been thinking a lot about.
Yeah. I think that I totally agree, Mal. That is something that I so appreciate when it's brought to my attention, but I need to do a way better job at seeking that information out. And I was just like talking to some friends about like how when we were in school and like, you know, learning about like you all like learn your state history. So we learned California history. And I don't know if you did this in your school, but we literally did like little group activities where it was like, okay, now we're all gonna like basically role play like colonizers, and like you're gonna like think about what it was like to like come to new land, and what would you do, and what would you know, like learning about missions and all this stuff that is like very fucked up to the core, but we're all just like kind of like, oh, let's do an art project. This is so fun. History is awesome. Like, I don't know. I hope that they're doing a better job about that. Now
I'm not sure.
I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know. I know for a fact that like we were talking a lot about how books are a lot better. That like if you go to a children's or like not even a children's bookstore, but like just like a store now, there's a lot more stories and picture books and stuff with like different indigenous legends and different beliefs that like, you know, it's a lot better, I think. So hopefully kids are getting their hands on that stuff. But I was gonna say for my job in Boulder, it involves like a lot of learning geography, and something that like I really wanted to try and do better was like learning the different like indigenous nations that lived here, and like, you know, Cheyenne, Ute, like all of these, like Arapaho, like all these places that everything is named after here, but people might not even know that it's because, you know, it's named that because of this. So
I bet 90% of people don't know that in Boulder.
Yeah, probably not. And I don't think that, you know, learning the geography in that way was really what people like normally might do, but I was like, I really want to try and do it like this. But something that was cool was I have never before flown to Denver airport and come to the international terminal before, but I did this trip. And so like last week walking through the airport, if you walk through the international terminal to basically get to the main terminal where you would, you know, find your bag and find your cab and leave or whatever, your cab, your lift, like it was lined so everyone has to walk through this terminal. It's lined with huge pictures of different, like just like random pictures and portraits of different people in these different tribes. And there's not like a lot of description. It's like sometimes they have their name next, like on a plaque next to it, but it was really cool. I feel like most people were like walking fairly slowly to try and see all of the pictures, because they're so big and like so eye capturing that like you want to look at each one and you want to like read the plaque and see what it says. Of course, there are some people that are like gotta hit the road, but like it was it was cool that they had that, I guess. And I had never seen that before. So maybe that's a new thing. I don't know. Or I don't know if other airports do that, but it was cool.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. And that, you know, it's like, I'm sure a small capture of all of that. Cause like,
but like anything to get you thinking about it. Like, obviously that's not
Agreed,
enough.
yeah.
Like, obviously
Right,
we
yeah.
need to do more than that, but like even the
Agreed.
land acknowledgement, like all that was just like, you know, 7 lines on a PowerPoint. And I was like, oh, this is a fucking reminder to me
Yeah,
that
it like
I
pulls
actually need to
focus a
do
little bit.
more, you know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's, you may not feel like that. Like, obviously the airport thing is like not enough for us to just know that information, but even if it's just a reminder of like, oh, I do want to like continue to learn about this because it is important and it is interesting. I think that's better than nothing.
Yeah. And just kind of taking a, like, what that made for me, because it was kind of a reminder of like, oh, I want to learn more about this, but it was also kind of like a moment of like, oh my God, like how horrible and sad is it that I'm sure all of these people were hurt in some way by people who came and murdered and colonized and, you know, came and took their land. Like it's kind of just like a moment of like recognition to them, even, you know. I agree. Yeah. It's like, why isn't that in like the domestic terminal so that everyone can see that who goes to the airport and not just like the international travelers? I don't know, but it was cool.
Do you guys have the app Native Lands? Or sorry, Native Land?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Like pinpoint wherever you are and know where.
Yeah. I mean, it shows like it shows the map of the world. And I mean, it's, you know, North America, it shows all original, like all the original things. And it's constant. Like I just opened it up and it was like, we're a work in progress. Like we're always continuing to kind of change and update. And I don't know, I really like it. I try and look at it everywhere that I go to just.
Does it pinpoint where you are and say you are here on this land? Or is it just a map?
So I'll show it to you guys. So it's like a huge map.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
See? And then you can see like our dot, like it shows where we are,
okay.
You know, and then it shows the intersection. There's a lot of tribes in this area, and the Boulder history, I don't know if it's like a Boulder history museum. I don't know exactly what it's called, but when I first moved here and I had nothing to do and I didn't know anyone, I went to a lot of places by myself, and I went to this museum by myself one day, and it was so informative. And it was like kind of for little kids. I mean, it's not for little kids, but there was like a lot of like sections where you got to like sit down and watch videos. And I really liked doing that. And guys, I can't take it today. I really can't take it today.
Sorry again.
I'm so glad.
It's like so frustrating because for training, he's been doing so well, but like, I know that he just has to go to the bathroom. So it's like kind of shitty because now I can't like ignore it.
Why don't we just pause it and then you can go?
Because it's gonna be like a minute. We've already been recording for a while, right?
He's up on the door.
Oh yeah, we can wrap.
Yeah.
I just want to chill for a little bit.
I just wanted to make one more comment about the like Native American education, like in our education system in California. And it just reminded me, like, I do feel like my county in Ventura did a really good job of talking about the Chumash Indians, which was like the main tribe around where I grew up. But then I don't think they really, and like, to be fair, like, I don't know how to communicate in the best way, like, you know, the mass murder essentially of like a group of people to like fourth graders. But I know that there has to be a way to explain that in a better way than by just ignoring it. You know, I don't like, I'm not an educator. I don't know how to do that, but I felt like we went from like, okay, on really like learning and honoring Chumash traditions to like, okay, now we have the missions and all of those.
And now it's ours, actually. Yeah. They gave it to us.
Here we are today, you know? So it felt like there was a disconnect there.
Yeah.
I think about with that, like how some people talk about, ow, Douglas, about like sex education, where it's like there's mechanics and there's specifics in a way, like and you teach toddlers mechanics, they don't need to know specifics. You know what I mean? And then as people get older, they can like learn specifics, and it's almost like in that way where it's like, yeah, you can teach mechanics, and it's not like a direct relation, I guess, but like you can teach mechanics of betrayal or death or murder in a way that's like, not scary. And then maybe later on they learn more specifics, like, okay, we knew it was bad, we didn't know it was maybe this horrible. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast, but obviously you both know who Nebro Sarah is, and he had a giant statue in front of our city hall, and maybe like 3 years ago it started, like there was like a ton of pushback on it, and it got taken down, which I obviously think is great, but there's still the Ventura mission. And I haven't been in there in a really long time to see like what kind of education it's doing. I probably should go check it out. But I definitely think Ventura has such a complicated history by like having a mission and having the statue up for so long and not doing as much education on like the Native American populations. So,
well, wouldn't you be able to maybe ask your dad about that? Because he's on the board of like.
I feel like I would ask Val, because she's like a 4th grade teacher. So I feel like she would be in the loop on that, but I could also ask my dad. I feel like he might know as well.
Yeah. Cause 4th grade is when we learned all of that, right? That's when you do that.
And I know Val has like, super interesting kind of mixed feelings on obviously the mission project, because it is like really an outlet for creativity, but like, does it have to be on like this topic specifically? Like, is there a more like nuanced way to present it?
Well, it's also kind of funny because like, and no hate to our families that have our missions, right? From like 4th grade, but it is kind of like, then it becomes like a staple of like, it is your art project from like elementary school in a way. And then it's just like fucking sitting on everyone's counter, like,
a mission.
So fun fact,
Jesus.
My school gave you an option between writing journal entries as if you were a part of the mission, or you could build one. And I chose to write journal entries. And so I still have those, but they're like really weird and kind of sad. So I don't recommend reading those.
I really just wish people would realize how fucked up that was. Even journal entries, like what?
Day 7 at the mission. Like, today we enslaved more people.
Like, Lara, you're so spot on too with like what you said earlier of like, yeah, let's all like pretend that we just came across like we're Christopher Columbus. Like, what are people thinking? Like,
let's talk about scenarios. That's what we're doing. Like,
No, like honestly, it felt like, and we came upon the land. And what would you like to do with it now? Like, yeah. I feel like also it's funny, just to Makena's point, thinking about the art my mom still has of mine. And like one of them is like this weirdly shaped like manger that I created in preschool. And I was like, Mom, we really don't need like a manger of Jesus in our house. Like none of us believe in God. Like it just like doesn't really fit the vibe, but it's like made out of toothpicks basically. And I think she just thinks it's funny at this point, but it is funny looking at all like the weird stuff that you had to make throughout the year. And, now I feel like maybe at least 10% of it was relatively insensitive, but yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. My weird art project that my parents have still is like when I was in classics English. So we were doing like, Greek Roman theology kind of a thing, like the theater and stuff. We had to make masks, and I made this terrifying paper mache mask on my brother's face, and I painted it, and it is so scary. Like it is the scariest thing I've ever made ever. But my parents are like, hell yeah. Artist.
There was a lot going on in young Lara's brain.
Not really.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of those drawings.
Yeah. What can I say? Artist.
Yeah.
Artiste.
those are kind of all my main thoughts. Last thing I was just going to say is that when I went backpacking 2 weeks ago, I got so sad because it is so dried up in the Sierras because it's been such a dry year. And I think it's only going to get worse. And as someone who loves the outdoors, like I do think water is going to be a huge problem in the coming years, is like filtering water. Like, is there going to be enough water to go backpacking? Because you'll need to make sure that like the streams might be dried up. Like, is there enough water for
a long trek?
A long trek. Yeah. And I don't know if you listen to the daily on Salt Lake City and the Salt Lake, but a lot of lakes, like when they go down, they expose chemicals that we're really not supposed to breathe. So then when the air picks up, we're now breathing all these chemicals that the low water level is exposing. And I feel like it just got me thinking, and I kind of spiraled, but I'm not meaning for this to be a spiral, but it just has really got me thinking that I'm just very worried, obviously, about climate change. That's an understatement, but I think being in the Sierras and seeing it firsthand, like the stark where there was once a lake and there's no longer a lake.
Oh, that's so depressing.
And like your stomach just flips and you're like, 4 years ago, there was a lake there and there's no longer a lake. And I don't know what to do about that. So anyway, not to end on a sad note, but I've just been thinking about it a lot. Hi, Douglas.
I honestly, like, something that I feel guilty a lot of times about is that I just feel like I can't engage in a lot of those conversations because I spiral. Like I just spiral so hard, and it really stresses me out. And especially in the summer, it's just incredibly stressful. And I just, it's hard to think about.
Well, I feel really helpless, I think, which is obviously the opposite of what I would like to feel, but yeah.
The extreme temperatures that were happening, I mean, they're happening everywhere, but really happening in Europe right now, it was also kind of like a harsh, like, this is not livable, nor is it getting better at all. It was really weird. Like, I know this is very small and this is not this person's problem, like whatever, but I was walking in a park in Denver today and I was walking back and there was someone watering their lawn. And it's so funny that something like that is a normal thing for someone to do, but in my livelihood, like being in California, where it's like you do not have a lawn.
You do not water your lawn
ever. Yeah, but now being in Colorado, like maybe Colorado's not in such a drought, so this person was watering their lawn, but I was just looking at them and I was like, what are you doing?
like, please read the room.
It was just so weird how like that's usually like, you know, in the past is a normal activity, but for me, I was like, this isn't registering. This is not okay.
That really kills me when they do it at like 4 p.m. and you're like, no, what are you doing? Like,
3 p.m.
It's so funny. Not funny, you know.
My dad will like talk to people in California if he sees them watering their lawn.
Oh my God, you would never. Everyone has a dry lawn.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they can be really beautiful.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening, and we appreciate you all. And if you have a moment, we would really love you to leave a rating or a review. We haven't pitched that in a while, but I saw that a couple people did it after we asked. And this is a reminder to you, person who hasn't done it yet, that it would really fill our buckets. Like, and then maybe we could pour that water into the Sierras. So think about this as a way to fill the bucket that could refill the Sierra water. So thank you for helping climate change. All right. We appreciate you all. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.